must ask you about love. You met your husband while you were in exile, and I understand that he's a bit older than you.
I'm older than him.
You're older than him?
It's the other way around.
That girl.
It's the other way around.
Girl. Tell us about love. Tell us about who you are when you are in love, and how did you come to meet your husband?
I met my husband in the camps in Angola. That was at the worst of times. Him and all the senior people at the camps at the time were not allowed to start relationships with the new recruits. We broke that because I was a new recruit and he was already an officer at the time in the camps, having been there for a very long time. The picture that I have of him, he was wearing his combat uniform and he had the pistol here and he had his beret there and he used to walk very briskly like that. I looked and I said, I think I like what I see. But of course we had to hide whatever was happening because, as I said, he wasn't allowed to have any relationship with new recruits. We liked each other. It started there and it blossomed into something else. And then he left Angola to go to Uganda. Remember that part of the agreement for the independence of Namibia, we had to withdraw from Angola as a package. So the leadership of the ANC, your Chris Han, your Or Tambo and all that, they went all over Africa trying to see where are we going to take all these soldiers to, MK cadres. And he went to Uganda, left me in Angola. But again, believe me, at the time, you remember we two people who are not necessarily there because we love each other. We are there because we are part and parcel of a liberation struggle. So we've got different responsibilities at different times. So when MK had to withdraw from Angola, he then went to Uganda and I went to Zambia. But because we wanted to be together, which was very difficult, I think me and him were privileged at that time because it didn't matter how much you were in love with who at what time. Some people were even married, but they couldn't live with each other. Some people were in Tanzania, some people were in Angola. So I think we had an opportunity, and that opportunity also came because by that time, remember, I had completed my university, so the ANC could put me in offices where I could do different things. So when we requested that I move and go to Uganda where he was, they agreed. I moved to Uganda, but still, even in Uganda, we are still in two different places. He was still in the camps at the time because he had to be responsible for the training and a whole lot of other things that are military related. And I'm sure you've seen one of the photos of me with that AK on the side.
Notorious photograph of the AK-47.
He took that notorious photo because I was allowed to take pictures. Because why we don't have pictures today of our lives in the camps and so forth was simply because for security reasons we're not allowed. By that time that we were in Uganda, the negotiations had started. So the possibilities of us coming back home, well, we could see that there is a possibility to come home. So they relaxed a little bit. But also I think that they wanted some record of some sort of us being in the camps. And I was a journalist, obviously, so I came with the camera and I took the pictures. That particular day had been one of the most difficult days for us because we had been traveling and our car broke down and we walked almost more than 30 kilometers to get to the camp. So that day I'm sitting there, I'm exhausted, I'm sunburnt, I'm everything. And he's there trying to make life easy for me, and I'm sitting there, and the camera is there, so he took the picture. Zweli's parents were very welcoming, and our family is connected. In fact, when we came back from exile, he also met my grandmother in Johannesburg, because my grandmother wasn't very well, so she had to be admitted at Barra. And he went to see her at Barra, and I think they clicked because my grandmother, these ones will tell you, my grandmother was very picky and choosy. You'd come with somebody and you say, what is this? And if she doesn't want that person, she doesn't want that person, and that's it. And the rest is history. We've built this family together. through hardship, through hard times, through tough times, because it's never easy. And we are a family today because Zweli and I took that decision then, way back then. And again, you know, when you are in those circumstances, you don't think about it. It's unlike here at home when you're a teenager, you are thinking, I'm going to get married, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Your environment and your circumstances are completely different. But we are also the few who met each other and stuck with each other this long. We are among the few of our comrades that have managed to take our relationship from one level to the next level to where we are today.
Yeah.
Many could not. And again, I appreciate and I understand it's not easy. That's a fact. And if anyone who thinks that it's easy is not telling the truth. It's not easy. But we are grateful and appreciative of the 33 years that we've been together now, I think
that you're right to say that your story has got a beautiful, happy ending. But for many women in the liberation struggle, they don't receive that happy ending. And some of them were even abused in the camps by their fellow comrades, whom, should we even say that some of them have to look at their perpetrators even today. How does that make you feel as a woman who was part and parcel of this very same liberation movement, that your fellow comrade, the one that you're fighting alongside, the one that you're fighting with for the liberation of this country, could turn out to be the very same perpetrator who causes you pain? And some of them were raped, some of them were abused in many ways and shapes and forms. And you were the lucky one, but many of their stories is not so lucky.
I wouldn't want to take that in isolation of a South Africa that has a problem of patriarchy, of a South Africa that is still going through issues of violence against women. I would not like to take it out of context of what I know and experience myself being a mother at 16. Under normal circumstances, should we have any 16-year-olds having children? What would you call a situation where you are 15 and you come across a man and you think you're in love and you think that, and that man thinks it's normal for them to have sex with you, and then you fall pregnant, and then afterwards they don't even care. So I want us to take that whole issue of violence against women not in isolation of a people who were in the camps, who came from a particular environment and background. I was never in that space, despite the fact that I was in the camps. I think at the time when I arrived in Pango, for instance, there were only 2 women with more than 200 men. But I tell you why also it didn't happen. It is because the ANC as an organization, should you have been found to have done that, the punishment was very high. The ANC as an organization did as much as it could to try and make sure that such things are not normal things where they are perpetuated and the leadership just closes its eyes and think it's fine. It was not fine for the ANC, for any woman to be abused by anybody. But of course, as I say, we are a society that came from that kind of thing, that sometimes even in our families, people would keep quiet when the uncle has done something. We came from that kind of an environment. And so the stories of those that felt they were abused at the time at the camps, it's stories that need to be told, because people need to come out and people need to forgive, people need to go through certain processes. I would say at my time, maybe at the time that I got there, things were very different. The women of the time when I was there were women who were fighting to be recognized as women, because they also wanted to be commanders. They also wanted to be commissars. And that wasn't happening. You know why that wasn't happening? Because even though we were liberation struggle, even though the ANC understood the role of women, to get women to be commanders and commissars, it wasn't going to happen, because men are generally just used to the fact that they have to be the ones that have to be in charge. that have to be in control. So we had to go through that. So I arrived at the time of the likes of Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula. No nonsense kind of women. I arrived at the time of Thembi Majola, again a woman who was also given an opportunity to be a commander, even though it was short-lived. But I arrived at a time when the consciousness about the importance of women and giving women that opportunity in the camps was really high. I arrived at a time where women themselves could show what they are capable of doing and could defend each other and could protect each other. And more than anything else, I arrived at the time when the ANC was very conscious of the fact that if there was abuse and abuses against women, something needed to be done. It's 25 years down the line. What has the ANC done very well? Where are the changes that have happened in the lives of people in education, in health, and what have you? How can we build on that and create a better South Africa?